right, let's go ahead and get started. We are already recording, and so we will just go ahead and get started, walk through all of the content that we would like to share with you today. We want to thank the Department of Education for allowing us to share this week for the WOW series. We appreciate the time, we appreciate the spotlight, and we're excited to share our resource center with you today. So I'm going to move a couple of icons around on my computer and we'll get started. So I want to welcome you to this overview of Project Success. We're going to walk through our at no cost resources, tools, materials, and professional development with you today. We're going to introduce you to our team, and we're going to walk you also through our website. So our website's right there on the screen, projectsuccessindiana.com. And this is where we house all of our materials and resources today. So I put two important things in the chat. The first is where you will find today's presentation and tools on our website. And the second is our Padlet, which will serve as a back channel to share ideas and ask questions today. And the Padlet will be anonymous. So as you're sharing ideas, if you would like to put your name on them, you can. If not, you can just ask those questions and we'll address them either synchronously here, or if it goes beyond that 3 o'clock time frame, we'll be able to answer those asynchronously as we move forward. So let's start with using our chat box today and introducing yourself within that chat box. So if you could share your name, your role, your district, and a celebration from the semester so far. We know that there are so many challenges right now for all of us as we move from different instructional methods frequently, but we would like to focus on the positive here today. So if you would share a celebration, that would be wonderful. And you will find my coworkers Heidi Brett Baker and Ashley Quick monitoring that chat box today and helping support and answer any questions. So thank you for introducing yourselves in that chat box. As always, anytime that there's a question, please add it to the chat box. We'll be able to answer that, and Heidi and Ashley will be right there to answer any questions that you might have. So I mentioned the Padlet, and I'd like to go on ahead and get that open today because this will be where we ask you to share questions and ideas for today's session and beyond. So this Padlet is an interactive board for questions. You can share ideas. So if there's some strategy that someone is requesting or asking for, and you have a great tool or procedure that you follow within your own local classroom, district, or school, we encourage you to share it there. And I'm going to give just a quick demo. So I'm going to change, you'll see the back side here. I'm going to change over here to Padlet so I can just show you what and how we can interact here. So within the Padlet, we have some general questions that you could ask for Project Success. All you have to do is click the plus sign and post that question directly here. So if you have general questions for the Project Success team, we encourage you to click the plus sign and add that there. If you have questions around our website, we redesigned our website to hopefully be a little more user-friendly. We're going to walk you through that in just a moment. But if you have any questions particularly about the website, please ask those there, or any considerations, things that you find missing or would like to see more of. That's a great place to put that as well. If you have any suggestions for ideas for our upcoming webinars or open office hours, I encourage you to add your ideas there. We'll walk you through some of the topics that we're covering this school year, but we encourage you to continue to share ideas or share suggestions with us so that we can tailor those directly to what you feel like you need to be more successful, especially during these multiple instructional methods. We also encourage you to share any supports that you might need or anyone in your district might need, especially around our new teachers. We have so many new teachers who need some support that we really encourage you to share any ideas that you may have or suggestions that you need. And then any type of time of day that works best for your professional development. We record every presentation that we provide and make sure that we have those up with an engagement guide on our website, but we also understand that your school day is different. And so maybe meeting in the morning or after school or doing something asynchronously is better for you. And if you feel comfortable to share your contact information, we have a spot on Padlet that includes the ability to do that so that you can connect with each other as well as share your information with us. So this Padlet will be monitored throughout today's session. As you think of questions, you can add them here. You may always add them to the chat box as well here within the Zoom group. So both of these places will be spaces that you can add questions, add suggestions, add ideas, and both spaces will be monitored by staff today so that you know exactly, you can have your questions answered and tailored directly to what you need. So here's our agenda for today. We're going to provide an overview of Project Success, our resource center. We're going to provide a demo of the Project Success website. We're going to speak through the professional development that we have available through our resource center that is at no cost to the field, at no cost to teachers, administrators, and school districts. We're going to talk about our building inclusive practices, which was part of our summer institute in the series that we provided over the summer as part of our regional training. And then, of course, we're going to open it up at the end, and we'll be able to ask and answer questions in a variety of ways. We'll be able to have the chat box going. We can move over to Padlet at the end and address those questions. And if you feel comfortable, we'll open the floor at the end to ask any specific questions of the staff today. So we'll provide that in multiple ways so that you feel comfortable sharing in a way that best meets your needs. As we talk through today, I want you to feel comfortable reaching out to any one of our Project Success team members. So I want to take just a moment to introduce them to you. You will see them in the chat box, as I mentioned. You'll see them here on video as well, or see their names. But I want to take a minute to just introduce them. So we have our Project Success coaches. So that includes myself, Meredith, Katie Merck, Amy Howie, Ashley Quick, and Heidi Brett Baker. The four of us support professional development, webinars, classroom coaching when it's safe to be in schools, and we host open office hours as well. We also support our model sites, our model classrooms, as well as our 23 teacher leaders who meet with our team monthly. We also have our project management team today. So Mary Baker Budisa and Christine Krieger are our project management team. They support scheduling, they support our website, and many of the adjustments that you will have seen were created by them on the website. And our team, as I've mentioned a couple of times, will be monitoring that chat box and that Padlet. So feel free to ask questions as they come up and as that's convenient to you. And if you're driving home tonight or just thinking further about what was shared today and you have a question, you can reach out to any one of us to have those questions met, and we'll connect you in the right direction or provide what you need. As a reminder, Project Success is part of the Indiana Resource Network, which is a larger group of resource centers, each with their own specialty. So I know a couple of weeks ago, you explored the Patton's Resource Center, Patton's project, and you got to learn about their services, but I wanted to share just the other resource centers that fit within the Indiana Resource Network. Here on the screen, you'll see the website information to go and explore the Indiana Resource Network, or you can always go to the Department of Education's website, and in the search bar, type in IRN for Indiana Resource Network, and it'll pull up each one of the page for the Indiana Resource Centers, and you'll have contacts for each one of them. But I really encourage you to explore the Indiana Resource Centers, to connect with the contacts there, and to attend many of the at no cost resources and webinars and open office hours that are provided through the Department of Education. Project Success specifically, as we fit underneath that umbrella of the Indiana Resource Network, we are a statewide resource center that is funded by the Department of Education to support teachers of students with significant intellectual disabilities. So we provide professional development across the state of Indiana at no cost on a variety of topics and traditionally in a variety of formats. Obviously, COVID has put a damper on that, but we provide everything fully virtual right now, and we hope when it's safe to do so, we can be out back in classrooms. So the topics of professional development that we cover include inclusive practices and equity for students with significant intellectual disabilities, unpacking the content connectors, making sure that we provide curriculum mapping support and goal writing aligned to that grade level standard using the content connectors. We've also built out and made sure that we've really focused around distance learning and supporting teachers in the virtual environment, just to provide resources and techniques and best practices for our teachers. And we've dedicated a whole section to our website and continue to provide webinars around those topics. Traditionally, we provide this support through on-site professional development or classroom coaching. Currently, right now, we're providing that virtually with open office hours. We're connecting with each one of our districts through Zoom and utilizing the breakout rooms to have collaborative conversations. And we're able to continue to provide all of our resources on our website, which I'd like to talk about here right now. So if you're familiar with Project Success, you know our website is projectsuccessindiana.com. If not, I'm going to take a moment to walk you through the website, show you what's there, show you some of the adjustments. If you've worked with us before, over the summer, we did, in early fall, we did transition over to a new format. So I want to walk you through that and just give you a quick overview of what's available to you. We have lots of resources. We have lots of webinars that are available at no cost to you through our website. So here's the areas that you're going to see on the website. I'll walk you through it in just a moment, but you'll see the About tab. One of my favorite parts of the About tab are the case studies that we have there. These are specific to Indiana districts, just sharing how Project Success support has increased inclusive practices and increased academic instruction for students with significant disabilities. You'll find our access information around our team, how to contact us, how to get in connection with our Twitter and our Facebook page as well through this section. Our resource tab is divided up between educators all the way down to our newsletter. And then we have a new registration tab, which will give you quick access to register and learn about all of our free webinar opportunities that are coming up. So I'm going to go on ahead and transition right to our website today and just do a of our website and make sure that you feel comfortable having access to it and learning about what we have available to you. So if we go to projectsuccessindiana.com, this will be our homepage here. I like the homepage best because you can scroll down and have access to educator resources, administrator resources, our events, our distance learning strategies, and district resources straight off of the homepage. So you can connect quickly, click to learn more, and go directly to our resources and directly to anything that you might need. The other component here at the top is our About section. So you'll be able to see our case studies here. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll be showcasing a few more case studies here in the next few weeks, but these are specific to Indiana districts. They talk about some of the ways that districts have included inclusive practices and been really intentional with their instructional strategies in the classroom. So these are a great way to learn about how these districts made quick shifts in their instructions, as well as connected with Project Success to do so. At the top, you'll also see our resource tab. And this is a really important tab because you will have access to resources that fit within your specific role. So if you're an administrator, you can select the administrator page and go directly to all of the resources that correspond directly to your role as a leader in your district. Everything from the content connectors to the certificate of completion are all right there for you. If you're an educator, it's the same thing for you. You select the resources and it pulls down a list of resources that will directly help support you in your instruction of students with significant intellectual disabilities. You'll have access to the content connectors, you'll have access to distance learning resources, as well as IEP goal writing, amongst many, many other things. We've linked our webinars here for quick access, but you can also find those underneath the events, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Another thing that's really helpful, as I mentioned here, is our distance learning resources that are all here and available to you. So you can have quick access to everything for ideas for teaching transition skills, to independent living skills, to considerations for supporting families, all the way down to a full list of resources to help support students with significant intellectual disabilities during virtual learning. Another part that is my favorite within our distance learning section is our teacher tutorials. So we have two types of teacher tutorials. We have the resource tutorials, where we take, our teachers have taken a specific resource like Mystery Science or Ed Puzzle, and they teach you how to use that in your own classroom. These are our model site teachers. So Kara Westerman from NewPal created taught you through this tutorial how to make a digital choice board. So they're quick, they're straight from our educators, and they're specific to one or two resources that you could leverage in your own virtual practices to make it easier for you as a teacher. The other component is our strategy tutorials. This goes from everything from using errorless learning virtually to adding audio to Google Slides. We worked with our model site teachers to really think through what they felt like they needed most during virtual learning, and then we had them share it out and create a video for it. So everything from creating a homepage with links all the way down to creating an interactive PDF so that students can make choices using a PDF document. So all of these are here for you, and all of it's underneath our distance learning resources. And then last but not least, we have two other sections that I want to show you quickly, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what we do across the state of Indiana. So the first is our events tab. So underneath the events, you'll have the upcoming events, which gives you a glimpse of all of our upcoming opportunities. You'll have a quick register button here. So if you see that you want your para educator to join one of our para sessions, you can go ahead and help them register that way. Or if you're interested in maybe our Summer Institute, which is about inclusive practices and building inclusive teams, you can register right here with just the click of a button. Our Learn More section will just walk you through specifically any information that would help you get registered, times, dates, as well as the audience that resource is for. And then our webinar page breaks everything down into two categories. So we have Webinar 101, which are for new to special education, new teachers, or new to working with the content connectors and instruction for students with significant disabilities. So that's our 101. Or if you've worked with us for several years and you're building upon a foundation of understanding with the content connectors and best practices, you can move over to our webinars 102, which really go more in depth and include some more strategies for inclusive practices of students with significant disabilities. We also include all of our paraprofessional webinars here as well. So 101 and 102 really focus around our teachers. Our paraprofessional webinars really focus on helping support our paraprofessionals. And each one of these are recorded and have an engagement guide that corresponds with it so that you can follow along and have access to all of the information. The last piece is our register page. We know that you will likely want to attend multiple types of professional development with Project Success. So we have this register tab right here where we collect your information, and you can register for multiple events using just one registration form, so you don't have to do several. So if you're interested in joining the webinar series as well as joining the Summer Institute series, then you would be able to join both of those right here. You would also be able to stay connected through our PS Did You Know newsletter by just clicking this button as well. So it's a one-stop shop for everything that you can do in regards to joining registration.
Why do you need some?
In that way. All right, so we will continue to reference back to the website throughout our time together, but I am going to switch back over and we're just going to talk through a few of our professional development opportunities as well as our teacher leader cohort. And then we will open it up for any questions that you might have moving forward. So we'll go ahead and start with professional development. And I wanted to share our teacher leader cohort first and foremost, because I'm really excited about it because the mission of this time is to pull together teachers to provide them the opportunity to work with Project Success for a year long. Every month we meet for 2.5 hours and we really talk through best practices for instructional strategies, best practices for working with students with significant disabilities. And the goal is to develop their leadership capacity to help support their local districts in new and exciting ways. For them to be able to take this information back and coach new special educators to take this information back and support collaboration with general educators. And all of our teacher leaders will participate in an end of the year capstone where they share out an area that they've really focused on and wanted to help support within their own district. So we have 23 teacher leaders who are joining us this year. And as you can observe here on the slide, we have 11 primary teacher leaders and 12 secondary teacher leaders. And they join us from as far as south as it can get and as far north as it can get. So we've enjoyed having so many teachers represented on this from different districts, from different backgrounds, from urban school districts, from rural, and from suburban areas as well, just to provide and share that perspective and that lens from their own classroom, and then be able to utilize each other's knowledge and skills. So one thing that we've looked at each week is providing time for our teachers to collaborate and share ideas. So we break into whole group and then we break into small groups, and we really discuss each one of these topics, one designated for each month. So in September, we explored high expectations and growth mindset. Last month, we explored inclusive learning environments. And then here in November, we'll begin to explore curricular content and knowledge really focused around how do we support those alternate standards, the content connectors, and instruction. Each teacher is focusing on a capstone celebration. So this is where each of our teacher leaders examine a challenge in their classroom or their school and collaborate with leaders, whether that's their principal and their special education director, and they design an action plan to implement and help change that structure in their district. So we have teacher leaders engaging in building inclusive teams and putting together collaborative teams. We have teachers developing universally designed lesson plans in collaboration with each other. And we have just opportunities that our teacher leaders are designing professional development for paraprofessionals or new teachers or general educators to help support and include moving the momentum forward in their district. It's been really fun to see what our districts and our teacher leaders have decided that they're going to focus on. As I mentioned earlier, each month we're engaging in different ways. We start out as a whole group, we break into small groups through Zoom, and we share ideas. as well as just discuss professional development topics that are meaningful to our teacher leaders.
Meredith, one of the questions out there from one of our participants today is, will this program run again? So will we have another cohort?
Yes, this is cohort 1. And yes, we are planning to run this again next year. And we have an application that we will put out in the spring to capture any applicant that is interested in it. One thing that we did request from each one of our teacher leaders was a teacher assurance, so to be able to dedicate that monthly time for this collaboration, as well as a leadership assurance. So that every teacher's leader is aware that they're participating in this and they have that leadership support as part of the process. But it's been a really exciting and collaborative group, and we've been using a space that we can share ideas and strategies and engage in conversations both during that monthly time together and then also asynchronously. So it's been really nice to keep people connected, especially during this just a different type of professional development time where things are virtual and we can't gather together. So we've been doing the best that we can and been having some really great conversations. All right, I'm going to pass the mic over to Heidi for just a little bit as she walks through district professional development. I'll pull up the chat box as well. And then after we kind of work through these next few sections, we'll open it up. If there are other questions, continue to ask those as we move forward.
Great. All right. So hi, my name is Heidi, and I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about how we go about the cycle of providing professional development in our district. Currently right now we're doing it virtually, and the key things are a couple things that all of our professional development is driven by our needs assessment. So we start out with the process of that in the spring, just like Meredith said, for our teacher cohort, there will be some flyers and some materials that go out that districts can apply for professional development. So that starts the process. Once you've applied, then we send you out information to complete a needs assessment. So you know your district best. The leaders do in your district who apply for our professional development. They know what's going on day to day, structurally in your classrooms and in your building. So we let them complete the needs assessment. Then we kind of analyze that needs assessment to see where your district's needs are. We have a kickoff meeting where we meet with the district leaders and discuss where the needs assessment kind of fanned out and what domains that you fall into in our needs assessment. And we set some goals up for the school year. And based upon those goals, that's what our 3 professional development sessions are throughout the school year. We usually do a kickoff in the early part of the school year. We do a fall session, and then we do a spring session. We also do some ongoing checking in here and there to make sure things are going well. And we certainly are always up for you checking in with us during our webinars or our office hours. And then last, at the end, we recap that needs assessment again to see where the growth has happened throughout the school year and to see where we need to start that process again for the next school year. Currently, we have about 23 school districts that are signed up through that, have gone through that whole entire process right now. We are right in the midst of our fall presentation. So Ashley and myself spend a couple of days a week with virtual on-sites with our school districts. And then, here and there, we have a couple of other times where we meet virtually with our districts just to check in and how things are going to help out with any resources that you may need. When they take that needs assessment, the 6 domains that our needs fall under are high expectations and that growth mindset. So really thinking about having a change mindset and thinking about presumed competence for our students and how do we think about high expectations for all students. And our second domain is learning environments. So this year we've kind of had those 2 domains go hand in hand together. So if you fall under those 2 domains, all of your 3 sessions will be working through those key aspects for training. Then our next domains are curricular content knowledge, assessment for students with significant disabilities, and instruction. And those three we've kind of grouped together as well. And so again, like I said, your sessions will fall under those three domains. And then our last one is on collaboration. It's really thinking about collaboration and how do we implement inclusive practices and what does collaboration look like with that. All of 6 of our domains really have the inclusive practice in mind. And that is at our foremost topic that we're thinking about, and how all these domains relate to that for our sessions throughout the school year.
Thanks, Heidi.
You're welcome.
So one thing that we also provide are our model sites. So I'm going to go ahead and flip to the next slide so you can see kind of the process for this. We have currently 5 model sites that we work with intensely throughout the school year, and we meet with them monthly, if not more, both formally and informally. So we'll hold open office hours, but we'll also provide training and support specifically for that model site team. So you'll see the kind of the flow chart there at the bottom of the process for our model site. So we meet with our model sites, we establish team goals, we check in with them monthly, provide any professional development, and our model sites have to be willing to, at the end of this time throughout the year, is to share at our model site summit. So their willingness to share what they've learned, share support, share ideas, share any lesson plans or anything that are developed throughout the year at our model site summit. And I'll explain that here in just a minute. So part of our model sites for this upcoming year, we are looking at our teacher leaders to then apply to become a model site for the following year. So we'll be knocking and requesting our teacher leaders to think through putting together an application to become next year's year 3's model site. So we're kind of looking at how do we spend the year with our teacher leaders and develop that foundation, and then how do we move that towards being able to share that even more with the field through our model site summit. So our model site summits, we've recorded those. So you'll see our first annual, we've added all those presentations to the website and recorded those videos, and any materials that go with that have been shared there. So you can access all of that here. Our second model site fell on the first day that things began to shut down for COVID-19. So we were able to still record all of our information, but we weren't able to have people together to watch in the same room. So we have brought together all of our teacher lead or all of our model sites to walk through and share what they've learned, but we were only able to have participants join via a webinar. So we did record all of those, so those are available. We typically have a big model site summit where we have hundreds of people join and watch our model site share out this content, and we did so virtually this year. So you'll find all of that information underneath the second annual model site summit. One thing that we always provide throughout the school year are our webinars. So this year we have a theme of inclusive practices. So you'll see all of the dates and the topics of our free webinar series. We provide that in 2 ways. We always host them live, but we also understand that you have a very busy schedule. So we record each one of those. We just hosted our second webinar, Best Practices for Inclusive Instruction, yesterday. So that'll be showing up on we recorded that, and it'll be showing up on the website soon. Our next session will be in February, and then we'll end in March with Connecting Behavior in Academics as well. So we encourage you, if you go to the event section of our website, you can register or use the registration tab to enroll in all of those. We also provide, as I mentioned when we were looking at the website, our paraprofessional webinars. You can see the topics here, from understanding culture and bias to high expectations to formative assessment and instruction and classroom management. We've set up our first semester of paraprofessional webinars to be done asynchronously. So we recorded each one of those sessions, and Mary created an engagement guide so that each one of our participants, as they're watching that webinar, which ranged from about 30 to 50 minutes for each webinar, they can engage using the engagement guide. It asks questions, they can follow along in that way and be a full participant. We've also found that that's helpful. If our paraprofessionals are earning any form of compensation, then we can provide a certificate to them so that they can show their leadership exactly what they've participated in. For the next semester, we will be providing another set of paraprofessional webinars, and we've had several requests to host those live. So we'll probably host one live and record as well. We were trying to be very strategic and helpful by recording them, and many of our peers have asked to do that live. So we're going to accommodate it both synchronously and asynchronously for the spring semester. I mentioned our archived webinars for both 101, our new teachers, and 102, those who have a good foundation with working with the content connectors and instructional practices for students with significant disabilities in the 102 section. But you can visit our website, and they're already organized in a way that you can kind of look through and identify the topic that you may need to watch a webinar for as well. And then last but not least, we have our Project Success newsletter. So this is a quarterly release, but we've been releasing those even more often with some shortened mini version of our newsletters, just to stay in touch with our teachers and our leaders within our districts. So we encourage you to subscribe. You can do so on our registration page, or you can visit our website underneath the PS Did You Know's newsletter section, and you can register that way as well. So we just encourage you to stay in touch. Sometimes we'll host an open office hour or an additional webinar, and that is a way to just stay in touch and learn about what's coming up. All right, so the last piece that we're going to share with you is our Inclusive Practices series, and I'll pass the mic to Heidi so that she can introduce this, and then we'll open it up for any questions that you may have.
Right, well, thank you. So our Inclusive Practice series this summer was virtual. Unfortunately, we love to meet face to face, and we usually have a large crowd when we do our summer institute. But this summer we did it virtually, and we spent 3 weeks really talking about inclusive practices and building a framework so that you can organize that framework to help create an action plan for your district, for whether your classroom or for your school and your district, to really begin the inclusive practice framework and to really plan it out for your district. So it really was broken down into 3 distinct sessions. And like Meredith has talked about so often in many of our sessions or many of our PDs, there's an engagement guide that goes with each one of our sessions. But the other key thing about this particular institute was that one of our SMEs, Ashley, was able to create a facilitator's guide that really helps you if you want to view the recordings and kind of walk your team through it. So I'm going to go ahead, Meredith, and go to the next slide. So we really started out by thinking about the inclusive practice really as an evolution, right? Where you are as a school district, and kind of looking on this continuum to think about where you're at and where you want to go. And of course, we all want to be to the right, where it's an inclusive practice. That's really the reality in every building. And so we started out with that, and with this visual in mind, and we went on to create the framework. So our framework is an 8-step framework that really starts from the beginning of thinking about that there needs to be a change. We need to establish that there has to be a mindset shift for all people involved in the process. And once we do that, we gather our team together, and then we move on to, after we've gathered our team together and we kind of become all on the same page, create some norms and some procedures for our group, to creating a vision for your school. And then, you know, of course, when we create that vision, we have to be good communicators, and we have to share that vision so that everybody knows what's going on and everybody can be on the same page. that kind of all happened in our first session of the summer. And then we moved on to that middle section, really was our second session, which really beefed up thinking about taking action. So now we know what needs to happen. We know where we need to be, and we've gathered a team. We have to set some action planning. And in order to do that, we really had to assess where you're currently at. So where is your school at? Where is your classroom at? And thinking about the inclusive practice. And so we did that and worked through that process. And then we created action plans to begin implementing. We know it's a journey, and we know that the inclusive practice is certainly one that takes quite some time, and it does take time to get everybody on board. So we created some action steps, and then talking about along the way. And our third session was to make sure that, because it is a journey, that we secure as many small wins as possible to keep that momentum going, and to really celebrate all the great work that is happening. We also talked about that you definitely have to reflect and analyze and adjust your plan along the way. All of us as educators know how flexible we need to be, and how reflective we need to be about what's working and what's not. And so this certainly is right there included in our framework. And then the last step of our framework is really beginning to set that norm, so that inclusive practice is a norm in your district, and that everybody, when the hiring process starts, that a new teacher knows that that's the process in your building, whereas if a parent comes in, they know that that's the process. And so we worked, all 3 sessions worked through that this summer. And we, like I said, we created an engagement guide. So if you would like to go on our website and listen to the recordings and follow along with the engagement guide, you can do that as well. Or if you want to take on a bigger challenge, and there's a group of you that want to go through that, and somebody wants to become the facilitator and use those facilitator guides to help you through that process, we would encourage that. Also, we always want to be supportive of people joining new initiatives or thinking about that inclusive practice. So we've created a couple of different sessions throughout this school year that will help you be able to ask us questions, and it can give you a little bit more, some new ideas to help in that framework. And so we held one session September 8th, and it was recorded, so that's on the website as well. We have another one coming up next week, November 11th, and that's going to be a neat one, because we're going to have a panel of educators who have already started this process and that are working through the process. So they're going to tell you kind of how it's been, and kind of you'll be able to ask them some questions about what the process has looked like for them. And then again in the spring, we'll wrap up again and meet and see how people have progressed throughout the school year. See if you have any more questions, and kind of just be able to support you through this process. We look forward, as you heard through Meredith talking about all the different professional development that we've utilized this year. Inclusive practices is our theme, our topic, because we know it's so important. And so there's many resources, many webinars or recorded sessions that you can listen to and begin to implement within your classroom or in your district.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so we always like to leave you with a new tool. So for today's session, we created these Project Success 101 and 102 tools and resources and how to get started. So I'm going to just change the view here and pull those up, so you'll see the back side there for just a second. So this is our Project Success 101 training tool, resources, and webinars that help walk you through getting started with Project Success. So if you're new and you're wanting to know kind of what topics do you start with, you haven't worked with Project Success before, you're not familiar with our website, this is the place to go. So you'll see we have a tools and resources on the left where you can see the topics of presuming competence all the way down through data collection. And then any supporting materials that correspond with that specific topic that are on our website, just to get you started exploring and learning about us. So we always encourage individuals who are new to Project Success or new to working with students with significant disabilities to start with presuming competence and communication support and work their way towards the content connector. We also know we have teachers and administrators who have worked with us for years. And this is Project Success 102, where we start to work on just different, after we've built that foundation, some additional more rigorous content. So everything from developing a virtual learning plan, building those inclusive practices, all the way down to assessment planning, and then certificate of completion. Just some resources to help guide you through that. As you're exploring the tools on our website, this is just a tool that will help walk you through that. So both of these are linked on our website, and I'll pull that up so you can see it. Here underneath these conferences, you'll find the Office of Special Education WOW series. You'll have today's presentation, those two Project Success 101 and 102, as well as any additional resources that we thought would be helpful to you today. So we are going to go on ahead. We're going to open it up for questions. We've gone through some of the main components of our professional development, and now we'll pull up the chat box. If you have questions, please feel free to ask those in the chat box. If you feel comfortable, you're welcome to unmute and share out your questions. And we'll also have the Padlet up so that if there are questions coming through, I'll refresh it here on my end. If there are questions coming through specifically to Project Success, we can answer those questions as well. So feel free to jump in, ask questions. If you have gotten the information that you need, you're welcome to go ahead and log off. Just remember to stay in touch with us through projectsuccessindiana.com. I'll put that in the chat box so you can log on and find all of our information in that way as well. But we are going to stay on here and ask any questions that have come up. And I see many of you have added information on what time of day is best to meet as well. So anytime after 3 and in the afternoon. So thank you for adding that information. That's always extremely helpful for us to start to think through times of professional development and information. And thank you to those who have added your contact information. That's extremely helpful to stay in contact with you. So thank you. So if there are any questions, feel free to unmute, add the chat box. And I'm also going to pull up just our contact information. So you have that here as we continue to think through what you might need. So you'll have my email, Meredith Katie Merck, at pcgus.com. You'll have Heidi's information, Heidi Brett Baker at pcgus.com, and Ashley Quick, at pcgus.com, as well as our Twitter at Project Success 4 and our Facebook, Project Success Indiana, where we share out upcoming opportunities and free professional development for you. So feel free.
Oh, Meredith, you're unmuted.
I muted my own self. Imagine that. So if you have questions, add it in the chat box. If not, thank you for joining today. And we'll be happy to continue to connect with you asynchronously as well. Just as a reminder, the Padlet will stay live. So if you have a question, please go ahead and put that on the Padlet and we can address it asynchronously or reach out to you directly if you put your contact information. Thank you for joining.
Those links in the chat box as well.
Thank you. Awesome. Heidi put both links in the chat box for everyone. Thank you, Lynn, for joining today. Lindsay, we talked a little bit about the teacher leader program. Yes, we will be running that again next year, and we'll have that information through our newsletter, and it'll go out on our website as well.
Yes, and so if you are interested and you have not had PD in your district before, or you're interested in the teacher leader cohort, in the spring is when that information will be coming out. So if you're a leader, look for that in the spring. And if you're a teacher and you want to be a part of our cohort, we'd love for you to apply.
I also encourage that's an excellent point, is when all of our information comes out. But if you're sitting back and you're noticing that there's a challenge in your district and you want to schedule an open office hour with any one of the Project Success staff members, we can arrange that and kind of organize that specifically to your needs, or if you just have questions that you need to work through, we're happy to do that as well. All right, I am going to back it up just a little bit so you have a quick link here on the website here. Just as a reminder, this is how you can register for any upcoming opportunities. As you log off, we will make sure we add this to the chat box as well, so that you can continue to register. And again, as a reminder, anything that you register for, we hold it synchronously so that anybody who wants to join and ask questions, but we also record everything so that we have you have an asynchronous option to learn. So feel free to register, even if you think you can't have a sub for that day. We'll continue to get you the recorded information so that you can join and learn the content as well. I'm going to check the Padlet. If there are questions, go ahead and you can put those there or in the chat box. We'll wait just a few more minutes. Feel free to unmute yourself. If not, thank you all for joining. Our staff will be on here for the next about 5 minutes to ask and answer any questions. Feel free to add it to the Padlet if it extends beyond our time here, and we'll be able to see that as well. Thank you all for joining. We know that taking time out of your schedule is right now more than ever a difficult thing. So we appreciate your time today, and we appreciate any questions that you would have for us, or just connecting with us. We appreciate that. And Heidi just added the registration form. So if you would like to register for any of our upcoming webinars or register your paraprofessional, that link will get you there. It'll also allow you to register for our newsletter. So it's a one-stop shop. So you'll be able to register for everything that you might need and have all of that in one space. And you'll get, like I said, all the recordings will be sent to you if you're not able to join the synchronous option. We understand that. All right, we'll stay on for about 2 more minutes. If there are any questions, I'll have the Padlet up if you would like to answer or ask your question that way. What supports do your new teachers need as they enter more helping hands? Absolutely. We do provide lots of supports for new teachers. So if that's something in your district that you want to tailor some professional development around, we have dedicated past regional trainings just to supporting new teachers, and we would be happy to help any district leaders that are looking for supports, or even if you're a new teacher and you need to get connected and have kind of that mentorship, we would be happy to provide that. Make sure that you reach out. We can always help you think through your schedule so that you're using your time and energy in the most effective way, and then getting some of those strategies to help support that instruction and implement some of those best practices, because for every new teacher, it's an overwhelming process. So please know that there are lots of supports available to you. All right, well, we will continue to keep the Padlet going. So if you think of a question, please jump on asynchronously and ask those questions. You also have our email addresses. We're going to go on ahead and in today's meeting, thank you all for your time. We very much appreciate it. And please stay in contact with Project Success with any questions that you might have. I'm going to stop recording and thank you for your time.